Happy Arvo. How you guys doing? Thank you so much for joining me today. Well, I ask how you're doing, but then I'm going to make a video about the housing crisis in Australia. Why the housing crisis made one renter buy the cheapest house in Australia. Well, he's not a renter anymore if he bought the house, huh? The cheapest house in Australia. Is it cheaper than that one guy who was renting out a tent in his backyard in Sydney? Remember that? I think it was like $400 a week. Outrage over backyard rental listings for tenants to pitch a tent for $130 a week. Hey, you know what? That is AUD, so it's a hell of a deal, guys. What is that, like $80 US? $70 US? Something to consider. That's not a house, though, is it? So, oh boy, they turned the comments off. We're in for a real treat here, guys. I can tell something about this video kind of smells funny to me. You know, the like ratio, there's quite a decent amount of dislikes, then the comments being off. This one rubbed people the wrong way a little bit. Just a little bit. Chief Reporter Chris Reason. I like that. Very reasonable guy. Investigates. That's what you want out of an investigative reporter. A reasonable guy. What's causing Australia's housing crisis? What can turn it around, and whether homeownership is a thing of the past? This is not what people want to hear. I'll tell you that right now. Don't even say that, okay? Don't even say that it's a thing of the past. No, it's not. It can't let it be. You know what I mean? What's the implication there? You're just going to have to rent it perpetually. Everyone will rent from this one oligarch that owns all the houses in Australia. No, it's not a thing of the past. In the third of our 5-part Big Australia series. Okay, well, go check out 7 News Australia, small and up-and-coming YouTube channel. They don't even have 2 million subscribers. Boom. Still don't. Let's do it. You know what? I also want to look up what mortgage rates are in Australia. I actually don't know what kind of mortgages you guys have. Like, America kind of famously has 30-year mortgages. Which I don't know if you guys have that. Let's see.
It doesn't look like much, and the owner will tell you it isn't.
It's not much, but it's a home. You know, it's not a tent.
4-bedroom sheet metal fixer-upper.
Probably needs a clean, but this is the bath.
They could have at least drained the bath.
Hot water.
Or bailed it out, you know, if the drain is clogged.
It's home for Elise McDonough.
I haven't had a hot shower since the 5th of January 20.
Okay, I hope you're not showering at all in that bath. Whether it's hot or not.
Elise McDonough.
I haven't had a hot shower since the 5th of January 2023.
Unable to afford her rent.
How much did this place cost you?
In Sydney, she Googled cheapest house in Australia and got this on the edge of the Nullarbor Plain for under 12 grand.
Okay. I mean, I don't want to seem insensitive or anything, but that thing might be less. It might be worth negative, you know? Like, the land is probably worth 12 grand. I think you got to subtract value so you can get this thing demolished. Is that desensitive to say? I'm just being realistic, you know? I think this house is worth less than 0.
I'm here.
But yeah, I mean, hey, at the end of the day, they can live in it. I'm back, guys. My wife was just yelling, bye! You know, she's just leaving. She up and left. So I had to go say bye. Anyway, I honestly totally forget what I was saying.
I'm here just because I had no other options.
Since
kind of sad, but okay.
COVID 2020, house prices have surged nationally 45%.
Internationally.
And rents the same.
Australia is in the...
Actually, an interesting thing here in America for a time period, and we might still be in that time period, I haven't checked, but renting for an equivalent house was actually cheaper than buying, like, the mortgage on a house after a 20% down payment, you know? So renting was cheaper than buying.
Midst of a housing crisis.
After mortgage rates went up so quickly, which, by the way, reminds me, I want to look up mortgage rates real quick. All right. Looks like they have been coming down a little bit. 5.76 as of last month. Of course, they shot up to the new normal. Wow, in 2022, Jesus. Damn, I mean, if only you could go back in time and buy it right here, huh? At 2%, my gosh. Yeah, at least, I mean, this is a factor, you know. Home price is probably not really going to come down unless there's a recession. But at least mortgage rates will hopefully come down, which will effectively do the same thing. With that said, what are these? These are lower than American rates, but I assume it's because they're not 30 years. They're, how many years is this? Oh, man. I'm asking the great Chat GPT, guys. Fixed rate loans only are up to 5 years? Oh, variable rates are by far the most common type. Interesting. That's not common here in America at all. I mean, it's an option. It's just not very common. I mean, why would you get a variable rate loan if you have the option for a fixed rate 30-year mortgage? And usually it's not that much of a different rate here in America, you know? So those are just not very common. I mean, I will say it's kind of a foreign concept to me to have to be concerned about, oh, is my mortgage rate going to go up, you know? Like, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of nice that I can get a mortgage and I'm just going to be paying this same exact monthly amount on my mortgage for the foreseeable. Well, okay, I do have taxes that are included in the mortgage. So those can go up, and they do. So I guess when I say the payment remains the same, the payment for the mortgage does, but for the tax, you know, the property tax. That's the freaking word I'm trying to think of, the property tax. The property tax can and usually does go up slowly over time. But by and large, you're paying very similar payment, you know, year to year to year to year to year, for as long as you keep that mortgage. Anyway.
Undeniable.
Elise McDonough's move to
But your rates are lower, so that's good.
the Nullarbor Plain is admittedly an extreme example of the nation's housing crisis. But there is no doubt that millions of Australians are struggling to put a roof over their heads. Experts cite three key reasons: the population explosion, negative gearing and tax breaks for investors, and supply shortages. First, of homes and land. All this land, and you can't do anything with it.
Yeah, no, correct. Very frustrating.
In Austria,
I just had to say it's a little bit funny that out of those three explanations there, like, those are good explanations, right? Obviously, those are great reasons, but I mean, this phenomenon has happened all over the world. And it's by and large, you know, a large, huge factor of it is inflation. So I don't know why inflation, rather, I guess instead of inflation, I should say currency debasement and the asset bubble that took place after COVID, you know, and money printers went crazy, caused assets to explode in value, and houses just, once they go up in value, it's hard to get them back down. Anyway.
investors, and supply shortages. First, of homes and land. All this land, and you can't do anything with it.
Yeah, no, correct. Very frustrating.
In Austral, Western Sydney, developer Romeo Tamburi says there are 17,000 lots approved for homes here, but they've waited 5 years now for water and sewer infrastructure.
But here we are, standing here almost in a stagnant position where we just cannot get the product out.
Nationwide, the housing industry is also suffering shortages of workers, brickies, roofers, and endangered species. Matt Gannon now recruits from his local prison.
It was just an option. It was the only option we could sort of think of.
He says most just find it too hard when more money can be made stacking shelves.
Honestly, though, I mean, if those prisoners, you know, I mean, if they're like violent criminals, then I don't know. But, you know, as a way of reforming them, getting them some money, getting them, you know, having them be productive, that's interesting.
We're not going to have anyone to lay roofs in 10, 15 years. What do you do? Who's putting roofs on houses if nobody's getting...
Now, of course, the more pessimistic angle would be, okay, this guy just doesn't want to pay a good wage to a roofer. You know what I mean? Obviously, the prisoners are going to be real cheap.
Apprenticeships and learning how to do it.
The last financial year was the worst for new home builds in a decade.
Australia's housing market is like no other in the world.
Right now, 35% of us are paying off a mortgage, 31% own outright, and so
31% own the house outright. Good for them. Those are the people, you know. It's interesting to see that, you know, because when you talk about, I feel like sometimes people forget half the country doesn't want housing prices to come down. They want the opposite. They're, woo, look at my house, oh, it's going up, yes, you know. So, you know, when you live in a democracy and stuff, and those people are voting just the same as you are, you know, your incentives are not aligned. And that could contribute to, you know, potential solutions, like building a bunch more houses, might not happening, you know, as quickly. Because some people don't want their house price going down. A lot of people don't. Homeowners don't.
close behind, 30.6 are renting. It looks like Australia is about to have more renters than outright owners for the first time ever.
Unless something happens really quick, this crisis will continue to deepen.
We need to get that right, and we need to see government step up.
The federal government has pledged 1.2 million new homes.
But I will say what I was just saying about home prices, at least rates, you know, it doesn't influence them that way. You know what I mean? Nobody is against lower mortgage rates. Well, maybe certain people, maybe bankers, but, you know, in the general population, nobody's against a lower mortgage rate. And that can really, really lower your mortgage payments, you know, make affordability much better. Anyway.
Step up.
The federal government has pledged 1.2 million new homes. Those on the front line have their doubts.
It's just talk. It's not happening.
Chris Reason, 7 News.
Damn, he says it's just talk. It's not happening. Damn. Politicians do like to talk, you know. That's the unfortunate thing. Comments turned off. Yep. Probably some spicy comments on this one. Ooh. And sometimes, a lot of times, it's one of those things where politicians will talk, and then for one reason or another, like, they laid out some reasons why it's just difficult. There's a worker shortage, I guess. So that makes it, like, just difficult to build the homes. But beyond that, you know, I mean, a lot of politicians are just saying whatever they need to say to get elected. Yeah, I know. So whether they deliver on that promise or not. I was thinking about that the other day. You know, that should be a crime. I think if you're a politician and you say something, you should have to make an effort to deliver on it, or else it's a crime. You should be impeached. Wouldn't that be a crazy idea? You actually have to do what you promised the electorate who elected you to do. But I'm guessing politicians aren't going to make that a law. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.